Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into the world of code repositories, specifically GitLab and GitHub.
Yeah.
I know version control might not sound like the most exciting topic, but bear with me. If you've ever wrestled with code, collaborated on a project, or just want to understand the tools that power so much of the internet, this one's for you. You're probably here because you're facing a bit of a dilemma: GitHub or GitLab. Trust me, you are not alone. It's a question that pops up all the time, and it can feel overwhelming trying to sift through all the information out there.
Absolutely. It's easy to get lost in the sea of features and comparisons, but that's what we're here for. We're going to break it all down in a way that makes sense so you can figure out which platform best fits your needs.
I love that. And speaking of breaking things down, one of the videos we looked at had this really clear explanation of Git itself. It explained that both GitHub and GitLab are actually built on this foundation of Git.
That's a fundamental point. Imagine you're working on a project and you make a change to the code. Git is like this clever system that keeps track of every single change you make. It's like having a detailed history of your project, so you can always go back to previous versions if needed.
So it's like a super-powered undo button for your code.
Exactly. But it's even more powerful than that. Git also makes it possible for multiple people to work on the same project at the same time without overwriting each other's changes.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And that's where GitHub and GitLab come in, right? They take this awesome power of Git and add their own special sauce.
You got it. They both provide a user-friendly interface and additional features that make using Git even easier, especially when it comes to collaboration.
Okay, so they're both built on Git, but they offer different features and ways of doing things. It's starting to make more sense now. One of the videos we watched had this really helpful table that summarized the key differences between GitLab and GitHub. The first thing that jumped out at me was the storage limit difference. GitLab gives you a whopping 5 GB per repository, while GitHub caps you at 500 MB. That feels like a pretty big deal, especially if you're working with larger files like videos or images.
You're right, that storage difference can be a deciding factor for some. If you're someone who works with large files or needs that extra storage space, GitLab might be the better option for you right off the bat.
So if storage is a major concern, GitLab seems like the way to go. But I'm guessing there's more to the story, right? What about this whole open source aspect I keep hearing about?
You're on the right track. While storage is important, another key difference to consider is the community aspect. GitHub has this massive open source community, making it a popular choice for finding existing code and collaborating with other developers. Think of it like a bustling marketplace for code.
The code marketplace. I like that. So if you're all about open source and collaborating with a huge community, GitHub might be the better choice. It's interesting how they each have their own strengths, right?
Absolutely, and that extends to the terminology they use as well. For example, GitHub uses the term repository, or repo for short, while GitLab prefers project. Similarly, you'll see pull requests on GitHub and merge requests on GitLab.
I have to admit, those terminology quirks threw me off a bit at first. It's like they're speaking slightly different dialects of the coding language.
I get it, it can be a little confusing, but don't let the jargon intimidate you. At their core, they represent the same concepts. It's like those regional variations in language. A bagel is still a bagel, whether you call it a bagel or pronounce it differently.
Okay, that makes me feel better. It's reassuring to know that the core functionalities are similar, even if the terms are slightly different. So, if I understand correctly, we've covered the basics of Git, the storage and open source differences, and even those quirky terminology variations. What's next on our deep dive checklist?
Well, now that you've got a grasp of the fundamentals, let's dive into some more advanced features, like CI/CD.
CI/CD. Now, that's one acronym I'm not familiar with. Can you break that down for me and our listeners?
Absolutely. CI/CD stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Deployment. Remember how we talked about Git being like a time machine for your code? Well, CI/CD takes that concept to the next level by automating the process of integrating code changes and deploying them to your servers.
Okay, that sounds incredibly helpful, especially if you're making frequent updates to your code. But I have to admit, I'm still a little fuzzy on how it actually works. Could you give us a real-world example?
Sure. Imagine you're working on a team and each developer is responsible for different parts of a website. With CI/CD, every time someone makes a change to their code and pushes it to the repository, a series of automated tests are run to make sure the changes don't break anything.
That makes sense. It's like having a built-in quality control system that constantly checks for errors. So instead of manually testing everything after every tiny change, CI/CD takes care of it automatically.
Precisely. And if the tests pass, CI/CD can even automatically deploy the changes to your live website, saving you even more time and effort.
Wow, that's impressive. So CI/CD is all about automation and streamlining the development process, which is especially valuable for teams who are constantly pushing out updates. I'm starting to see why this is a big deal in the world of software development.
It's a game changer for sure, and it's an area where GitLab really shines. It's known for its robust, built-in CI/CD pipelines, making it a popular choice for teams who prioritize automation.
So if I'm a developer who values automation and wants to streamline my workflow, GitLab's built-in CI/CD capabilities would be a huge plus. Now, I'm curious about the pricing structure for both platforms. Do they both offer free plans, or do you have to pay to play?
You're on the right track there. Both GitLab and GitHub understand that different users have different needs, so they offer a range of plans to accommodate everyone. The good news is they both have free plans that are perfect for individuals or small teams just starting out. You get access to the basic features, which might be all you need in the beginning.
That's great to hear. It lowers the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
You can dip your toes in and explore the platform without committing financially right away. But what happens when you're ready to level up? What do the paid plans offer?
That's where things get even more interesting. When you move up to those paid plans, you unlock a treasure chest of advanced features. We're talking increased storage, which, as we discussed, can be crucial for certain projects. You also get access to more collaborative tools, making it even easier to work seamlessly with your team. And of course, the level of customer support usually gets a boost with those paid plans. So you have a lifeline if you ever run into any technical snags.
So with the paid plans, you get more storage, more collaboration features, and better support.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's like upgrading from the base model to the deluxe version with all the bells and whistles. Now, I have to ask, and I'm sure our listeners are wondering the same thing, which platform reigns supreme? Which one is ultimately better?
Ugh, the million-dollar question, if only it were that simple. The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, no magic wand we can wave to declare a definitive winner. The best platform for you truly depends on your unique needs and priorities as a developer.
So it's not about finding the best platform in a vacuum, but rather the best platform for your specific workflow and project requirements. How can our listeners figure out which platform aligns best with their needs?
It's all about asking yourself the right questions. First, think about the types of projects you typically work on. Are they large-scale projects with massive files, or are they smaller, more manageable projects?
That makes sense. Storage needs can vary drastically depending on the project scope.
Exactly. And next, consider the size of your team. Are you flying solo, or are you part of a larger development crew? This will influence your need for collaboration features. And of course, budget constraints are always a factor. Luckily, both GitLab and GitHub have options for different budget ranges.
Don't forget about the importance of that seamless CI/CD integration, especially for teams who prioritize automation.
You're absolutely right. That's a crucial factor to consider. If you're all about automating your workflow and streamlining your development process, GitLab's robust built-in CI/CD pipelines might be a major selling point for you.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've gone from the basics of Git all the way to advanced features like CI/CD, and we've explored the nuances of storage, open source communities, and even pricing plans. It's amazing how much there is to learn about these platforms.
And we've only just scratched the surface. But even understanding these fundamental differences can make a world of difference when choosing the right tool for the job.
You said it. So for our listeners who are feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this information, what's the most important takeaway? What's the one key piece of advice you would give?
Think about your ideal workflow. How do you like to approach a project? Do you prefer working solo or in a team environment? What are your priorities in terms of speed, efficiency, and collaboration?
Those are all really great questions. Ultimately, choosing the right platform isn't about finding the absolute best solution, but about identifying the one that aligns perfectly with your individual needs and preferences. It's about finding the right tool for your unique coding journey.
Absolutely. It's about finding the right fit, not necessarily about choosing the winner in some abstract competition.
I'm really glad we had this deep dive. I feel like I've gained some valuable insights into GitLab and GitHub, and I'm sure our listeners are feeling more confident in their ability to make an informed decision.
It's all about empowering you to choose the platform that will empower your coding journey.
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. But don't let this be the end of your exploration. There are tons of resources out there, both online and offline, where you can continue to learn and hone your coding skills. Remember, learning is a journey, and every new skill you acquire can open up new possibilities. Until next time, happy coding, everyone.